Okay, in this video we're going to go through the solutions of the post-progress quiz revision. So you would have done the progress quiz by now, but this is just extra revision if you need it. So more questions than before. I'm going to do a video on each question. So this video will be on question 1 and then the following video will be on question 2 and so on. Okay, so question 1, simplify the following expressions. All right, so we've got to look for like terms. So here we've got AB or 10AB. Here we've got minus 5AB. And here we've got minus 3AB. So these three terms are what we call like terms. Now you can underline that so we can see it is different. Okay, so we can't add that because it's just a B. It's not an A and B. So we've got 10AB minus 5AB is 5AB, minus another 3AB is 2AB. And then we've got plus that 5B. Might just change this pen color. I don't really like it. Or do I want? No. Is it the blue I had before? I don't know. Okay, I don't think it is. 5mn times 2m squared n squared minus 3mn. So when we multiply, we don't have to have the same terms. Okay, they don't have to be like terms, and they're not in this case. And thinking of BODMAS, we've got to do the multiplication first. So even though we've got an mn here and a 3mn here, we don't do anything with them because the multiplication has to be first. Okay, so when you multiply the coefficients first, so the 5 and the 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. And then we'll just do each pronumeral separately. So the m and the m squared is now m cubed. And then the n times n squared is also n cubed minus 3mn. Now, they're not like terms because we've got m cubed, n cubed, and just mn. So they're not the same, so they can't be subtracted. So that is the simplified form of that. All right, moving on to question C. So again, doing the coefficient part first. So I always like to set up the fraction just so we can do it. Even if you end up with 1 on the bottom, it's fine. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, so I just have 3 on the top. There's basically a 1 on the bottom. Okay, so 3 goes into 9 3 times and 3 goes into 3 once. So, but we don't usually write fractions with the 1, so I'm just going to get rid of that. All right, then we've got t squared and a t. So this t on the bottom cancels out with one of these t's. So we've got t, and then we've just got an s left on the bottom. So 3t over s. Question D. Okay, we can't add or subtract fractions unless we have the same denominator. So we've got an 8 here and a 4. So I can multiply this second fraction by 2 to make that denominator 8. But I could also halve every term here. And I'm just going to probably multiply by 2 because we're used to multiplying and I don't want to complicate things. Now, whatever I do to the top, the bottom of the fraction, I also have to do to the top. So your first fraction just stays 12j minus 4 over 8. And then this one becomes 3j times 2, which is 6j, and then 4 times 2, which is 8. So now I have the same denominator. Now, some people won't separate them. They'll just do everything in one go, and that's fine. It's kind of like just skipping a step. Okay, and I'm going to run out of space here, so I'm going to put that 8. And what do we got? 12j minus 4 minus 6j. And I'll just extend that a little bit. Okay, 12j and 6j are like terms. So 12j minus 6j is 6j minus 4 all over 8. Now, I've got a common factor in 6, 4, and 8, which is 2. So I can actually just divide everything by 2. Okay, so that simplifies to 3j minus 2 over 4. Now, I've got a bit of working out there. So it's a good habit to get into. Just put a square around your final answer. It just, I'm not saying it just for my benefit, for anyone in the future who marks your work. They're not trying to find the answer, and they know what your final answer is. Okay. All right, let's move on to E. So this time we're multiplying. So when you're multiplying, you don't have to have the same denominator. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerators and then you multiply the denominators. So on the top, I'm going to have 6 times D plus 9, and I might just extend that D, all over 3D times 12. Okay, so on the top, I'm going to, now I can see, actually I might just leave that for now. And the reason for that is because I can see maybe that some things are going to be cancelled here. So 3D times 12 is 36D. Okay, so this 6 and this 36 simplifies to 1/6. And then I've got D plus 9. So I don't actually have to leave that in brackets. I can just write D plus 9. And I'm going to turn, oh gosh, it's going to turn that into a, actually, that's a D. Because we don't usually write 1 times D plus 9. And that's 6 and a D on the bottom. Now I can't cancel that D out with this D because this D is separated by a plus sign. So I could if it was multiplied, but I can't cancel if it's a plus. I also can't simplify this 9 and this 6 because of this D. Okay, so that's your final answer there. Just put a square around it again. All right, F. Oh, this looks complicated and I don't have much room. So when we divide a fraction by a fraction, the first fraction stays the same. I'm trying to write really neat. So actually, I was going to say I could cancel a few things out there. Okay, we'll just write that as it is. And then when you're dividing by a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So the reciprocal just means we flip it. So instead of having the 4 on the bottom, it now becomes goes on the top, and then 2AB plus 1 on the bottom. Now I might just, oh, it's so confusing. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking of many ways I could tackle it, but I might just do it the way you would probably do it for all of them instead of trying to cancel out as we go. Okay, so what I've just done, oops, I knew that was going to happen. Oops, let's just make that a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm multiplying the numerators, so 4 times this, and I put it all around brackets because it's 4 times the whole thing, and then all over 2A times 2AB plus 1. Okay, so you can expand that. It's probably going to complicate things. You can cancel out this 4 and this 2. You can bring out a common factor. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out a common factor from this bracket here. So I'm going to leave the 4, and my common factor in 6AB squared and 3AB is 3AB. Okay, so do you see that? 3AB goes into 6AB squared and 3AB. So I'm left in my bracket is 2B. And I'm just thinking as I'm doing it. Okay, so 2B plus 1. And then on the bottom, again, you could expand. I'm not going to expand just yet. Okay, so then I've got 4 times 3ab, which is 12ab, and then 2b plus 1, and then not expanding just yet. Okay, so this 2a is going to cancel out with that a and make that a 6. So on the top I'm left with 6b, 2b plus 1. And then on the bottom, I'm just now have 2ab plus 1. Now I can expand that bracket, and that's probably going to be my final answer, a very long one. So 6b times 2b is 12b squared plus 6b all over 2ab plus 1. I think when I originally wrote this question, I wanted that to turn out to 2ab, so they cancelled out, but obviously I forgot something along the way. Okay, so there's your final answer, a long one. I strongly encourage you to check something like that on your calculator if you're able to use your calculator. If not, just go as far as you can. Okay, and I do hope that I didn't make any mistakes along the way. Okay, I'm going to move on to G. So 3 over 8x plus 5 over 2x. So again, we need the same denominator. So I'm going to make this second fraction over 8x by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 4. So we've got 3 over 8x, and then the second fraction becomes 20 over 8x. And then we can just add them together. So 3 and 20 is 23 over 8x. Okay, I'm going to pause that here and continue on in this second video.